To our great Creator, we thank you for this precious day. We thank you for another opportunity to serve. We ask that you would address our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits, that we would serve with clean hearts, that what we do would do always for the betterment of this city, that this city have a great standing to be a better neighbor to others. We welcome you into this meeting today, and we ask that you have your way. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, I'll ask that you put your attention to our agenda. Please note that we do have an addendum to have an item added to our agenda, and it reads appearance before council, which would be Mr. Rocky. I want to get Rocky's last name first, but Rocky Rickovich to speak to council on the upcoming Florence Area Athletic Hall of Fame. Do we have a motion to add this item? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Also, if there's no objections, we have one resolution, a resolution number 2023-50. It's a resolution of the recognition of the contribution of the Northwest Park Men's Club in community. If there are no objection, I would like to move that item forward to come right after our appearance before council. Is there any objections? No. Hearing none, this item, the resolution, will follow after the appearance before council. At this time, we have approval of minutes. Our first minutes will be the ones from November 13, 2023 for our regular meeting. Do we have a motion? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Next, we have minutes from the November 27, 2023 special meeting. Do we have a motion? So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that both minutes have been received. Next, we have appearance before council. And when it comes to our appearances, I do ask that each person give notice that you will be limited to a 5 minutes presentation, and at the discretion of the presiding officer of the City of Florence Code, Section 2 to 24. So please retain all presentation to 5 minutes. First, we have coming before us will be Mr. Jeff Atkins. He is team director and coach for the Florence Composition Magic City Rollers Youth Mountain Bike Team. He's coming before us to discuss the student athlete for their finishing in the 2023 fall race season. Will you please come forward? All right. Okay. If you're welcome to come here, and you can introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm going to kind of stick to the script here. My husband, Jeff Akins, was supposed to be here to give this talk, and he's homesick. And he asked me to come and say a few words in his place. My name's Kara Akins. I've been involved with the mountain bike team here in Florence as a level 1 coach, and in more recent years as a South Carolina NICA league timer. NICA stands for the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. It was founded in 2009 and develops mountain biking programs across the United States. It's presently offered in 32 states with over 25,000 student athletes and over 14,000 coaches. Our team, the Florence Composite Magic City Rollers, has been a part of the South Carolina chapter of NICA since its inception in 2020. South Carolina currently has 315 riders and 170 volunteer coaches. These kids really are bringing recognition to Florence because they are such a competitive team. Let's see, we missed the inaugural race season due to COVID, but in 2021, let's see, we finished 5th. We finished 6th in 2022, and in 2023 2023, we finished 4th out of 24 teams in the state. NICA is a great opportunity for any kid, and it's more than racing. They teach core values like inclusivity, respect, community. There are no cuts. If you want to be part of the team, you can be, and whether or not you want to race. The league has expanded to include various incentives such as GRIT, which is girls riding together, and trail stewardship. The team puts in hard work maintaining High Hill Creek, the main practice area, so that everyone can continue to enjoy the trail. These kids and coaches are doing wonderful things, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
I would ask that if you have your team here, would they please come forward and stand before so everyone can recognize you? Would your team please come forward? Would you bring them forward?
This is Phil Kwan, head coach.
All right. Please line up right before here. And I also come before. I see you got your shirt there, y'all. Welcome. Thank y'all too.
Yeah, if I can get a second, we're done or before. I'm the head coach, Phil Kwan.
Yeah. Please, everyone, kind of, if you want to, I will get y'all all the shift. Kind of come kind of line up here all the way so we can get you right there centered. Right. Thank you. Thank you. You can take a few moments to
Okay, a couple. And so mainly what I want to do is twofold. I want to emphasize a little bit on top of that. The Florence riders really truly are, bringing good things to Florence in terms of their reputation. We had 2 in their categories, 2 state champions this year. Additionally, many people placed, on the podiums for the state. We had 1 rider we had, I think, 4 riders who went on and raced at Eastern Regionals, which is a regional competition on the 11 or 12 states on the Eastern Seaboard. And we had people who placed well there, including at least 1 top 10 finish at Eastern Regionals. The other thing that I would like to do, and I'm going to include everybody here, but especially this group here, is to ask for your cooperation. Probably a lot of people don't really know about it even yet, but we have High Hill Bike and Run Park, which is out by Otis Elevator, and it's a great place to run. It's a great place to walk. It's obviously a great place to mountain bike, and that's our principal home. Several of the Florence residents donated money and combined with the city minimal, and it really doesn't take much in terms of effort, just a little bit of motivation and a few people to help drive things. The mountain bike park is really a destination. We have about 1,500 search hits every month. I think it was like 240 search requests on the Google site for directions. And unlike a baseball diamond or a football field or something like that, which honestly is a heck of a lot more capital intensive in terms of the investment that you have to make, not only does this serve a population of our own residents here, a student population, additionally, we draw people from around the state who want to come and then mountain bike here. And so they are also staying in hotels here, spending money in restaurants and things like that. The relatively minimal capital investment to get the rest of this redeveloped or developed fully as a mountain bike course would more than pay for itself in terms of the economic benefits for the city. And so it is something that not just a student population, but throughout adult life, there are going to be people who are going to continue to come and use it, and it's a destination for both children and adults. With a properly developed city or facility, we could honestly host some probably non-NICA, unless we had some more camping accommodations, but non-NICA races here as well. So my long-winded bit is to ask for your cooperation in facilitating that to move forward and continue to develop that, especially when we already have the property just waiting to be developed. So,
Thank you for coming before us today. And as stated before, we as a city have supported, and next year at the time when application, please feel free to put in for those assistance. But I want to get the young people before they leave to say congratulations on your accomplishment, to rank where you're at in the state, continue to work on all of your abilities physically, but also your education, and continue to move forward. And thank you for representing Florence and the PD so well. Thank you. And we'll give them a few moments as they're leaving us today. Next, we'll ask that Mr. Montel Burton come speak. He wanted to speak to council regarding the Florence Housing Authority. It appears as though Mr. Burton is not here once again, Montel Burton. At this time, he's not here, so we'll move forward with our appearance before council. Next, we'll call for Mr. Rocky to speak to us.
Thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes. I would mention Dr. Quan is gone, but they actually started much of that bike thing by at Freedom Florence. So that's where they started. And they still do their initial, I think they're beginners biking out there at the complex and everything for them. So I'm with the Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. Back in 2004, we got together with a steering group of some athletic directors in the area and past superintendents and stuff to decide and see whether we thought that the city was prepared or ready for an organization such as to recognize. People don't realize the level of athletics that have come out of the Florence community. And I could prepare you a very lengthy list, but I don't have enough time for that, as I've been told. So I won't go through all that point in time. We realized at that point that many folks that have come into Florence or are new into Florence don't realize the history of Florence at that point in time. Debbie Wall came to the council at that time to talk about it, to get the blessings of city council. She was the first initial 2 years president and past recreation director with the city of Florence. So that was in that time period. The first banquet was in 2006. We're going into our 18th banquet this year. We took a year off with COVID, and also want to make sure that the city council knew, most of you do know, that you're invited each year along with a guest and be free guest of ours at the Florence Center. It is on January the 6th at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's a social, a non-alcoholic social, since it's an athletic event, just so you'll know that ahead of time. The main hardest drink that we have is probably Diet Pepsi. And then at 6 o'clock, the banquet starts. Usually lasts about a couple of hours at that point. And so the information I've left for you is an application. You can see the information that we asked for to go by. We're trying to get inductees. There's a business card up in the corner. On the back of it has Missy Burgess Planner's name on the back. She is our liaison with the Hall of Fame. There's an email and a website on the front of that card if you want to research that point. This year, after this year, we will have 133 inductees into the Hall of Fame. We also will have 20 citations. We also recognize folks that have contributed to athletics but may not meet the criteria of being a Hall of Fame member. It's based on the Florence high schools in our area, the public and private schools both. An application is submitted, and we have a group of 12 individuals that are volunteers from the community that go through those applications. We meet year round in planning and voting and deciding who those elected ones will be. If you didn't see the press conference this past end of November, our 6 inductees for this year are Coach Kevin Allen, Coach Billy Andrews, Akeem Bostic, Malachi Goodman, Don Bubba Strickland, and Thomas Webb. Thomas is what we call a golden era inductee. He's from 1942 Florence High School. So we have a group that goes back where information was not as available and we didn't have as many opportunities as many they have nowadays and get the publicity. So we go back and trying to locate those as well. We're also providing 2 citations to Marilyn Belk and Jerry Nettles, 2 very instrumental people in the history of Florence as well. Mentioned that the first banquet was held in 2006. Our Wall of Fame is located at the Florence Center. They've been very gracious in working with us. If you're out there, if you look on the second floor, you'll see the plaques of all the individuals that have been inducted. You'll see memorabilia, trophy cases, banners of sponsors, all the pictures of the individuals that are out there. We are working on renovations for the site that will involve touchscreen TVs. You can go out there and provide information, make it easier for folks to read and to see. Point in time of those things coming, hopefully in the near future from that point in time. And just want to, again, make sure that you know that you're invited. Please let us know by the end of the month if you're coming, so we make sure we have food and every seating and everything for you. Many of you have been there before. I know Teresa's come each year for time in office and many folks from the past. So we'll be back, initially back in touch towards the end of the month. We hadn't heard from you to follow back and hopefully be able to join us. That's a quick 5 minutes. The people who know me, usually I don't stay within 5 minutes about any talking, but I did the best at that point in time. So from that aspect, if there's any quick questions, I'll be glad to answer. If not, you could always go to the website or send us an email, and we'll be back in touch with you at that point in time. We hope to see you there and be involved and let you know.
You did a good presentation, and thank you to
I talk faster than I normally do.
You did good, though.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I would encourage you to go out and especially go to the second floor and take a look at the Hall of Fame. It's a nice display. And so next we'll move forward with our agenda. And as noted, we removed our resolution forward. So at this time, we will have resolution number 2023-50. It's a resolution of recognition of the contribution of the Northwest Park Men's Club in the community. Do we have a motion? So we can second it. We have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask Scotty, will you read that resolution?
Sure. Resolution number 2023-50, a resolution of recognition for the contributions of the Northwest Park Men's Club in the community. Whereas the Northwest Men's Club is a group of volunteers committed to improving and helping the community. And whereas the mission of the Northwest Men's Club is to provide men in the community who feel alienated, unheard, and helpless with the opportunity and a place where they can find help and build meaningful, respectful, and accountable relationships with others. And whereas the goal of the Northwest Men's Club is to assist in building community pride and engagement by helping men feel accepted, encouraging men to seek professional and financial assistance if needed, mentoring young men and encouraging men to continue their education so that they become responsible, productive, and caring community citizens. And whereas the Northwest Men's Club supports the work and programs offered at the Northwest Community Center, and they work collaboratively to positively impact the Northwest community by mentoring students and the youth with homework assistance and tutoring, providing community support such as free meals, sharing local medical and financial resources, and promoting pride in the community. And whereas the Northwest Men's Club volunteers work tirelessly and selfishly for the benefit of Florence and are true champions of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby recognize the Northwest Men's Club for their engagement, dedication, service, and contributions to the residents of Florence and for their selfless efforts for the betterment of the Florence community. Resolved this 11th day of December 2023. Mayor Teresa Myers-Irvin.
You've heard the resolution. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the resolution have passed. We do have members of the Men's Club present. I'll ask that they come forward.
I just want to give a stick under there. If it's okay for everybody to say who you are, we thank you, for this resolution.
Long Ali, John Cleary,
You go, please.
Karen Oliver, Abraham Damon.
I'm Kevin Lewis, President. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I I do want to say that that this club has been instrumental for the Northwood area for years. They've done so many great things, and they do it actually. They do the fundraisers to support the things that they've done, and I was very surprised that Mr. Rico didn't say anything. He's but I do want to extend a heartfelt thank you for all that y'all continually do and all the things that you have done. And the gracious thing about this organization, they do the work, they do it quietly, they don't seek out, accolades, they work and they're productive. And being a member of that community, on the behalf especially of the community, thank you. And thank you for staying consistent all these years. We truly appreciate it. And we desire to see more like you. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, can I say
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Lisa Jackson.
I definitely want to thank you guys for coming out this past Saturday. Mr. Rico probably said enough on Saturday, but I want to thank y'all because we did the community cleanup in Northwest, and those guys came out and cooked the hot dogs, and we had chips and drinks for the folks that volunteered, and we had a really good time. And I want to thank y'all again for y'all service and y'all dedication to the community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we will move forward with our agenda. Next, we have ordinance in position. The first one is Bill number 2023-34 for a second reading. It's an ordinance to amend the budget for the city of Florence, South Carolina for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2023 and ending June the 30th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Next, we have Bill number 2023-39 for a second reading. It's an ordinance to update Appendix A and Appendix B of the City of Florence current business license ordinance as required by Section 6-1-4002-420 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. Do we have a motion? So we have a motion and a second in discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let it reflect the bill has passed. Next, we have Bill number 2023-40 for a second reading. It's an ordinance to update Section 2022A to align the date of taxi cab inspections with the business license renewals. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let it reflect the bill has passed. Next, we have Bill number 2023-40 for a second reading. It's an ordinance to annexing zone CG 700 South Park Drive, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90004-01-018. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, like signs made. Let it reflect the bill has passed. Next, we are going to introduction of ordinance. Next, we have Bill number 2023-42 for first reading. It's an ordinance to zone 1110 Oakland Avenue from NC-6.1 to NC-63 as identified on Tax County Tax Map Number 90114-08-004. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And at this time, I will let Mr. Moore go through. And after he completes, we do have one participant signed up to speak. Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This request has been made to rezone the property located at 1110 Oakland Avenue from NC 6.1 to NC 6.3. You can see the location here. It is located to the west of the Housing Authority development. It is currently zoned NC 6.1. As you can see in this area, there is a wider range of different zoning designations. We have activity center, campus, NC 6.3, and NC 6.1. The future land use is neighborhood conservation. And the property does have water and sewer. It is approximately 50 feet by 250 feet in length. Again, it is currently zoned NC 6.1. The applicant has made their request to rezone it to NC 6.3 for a proposed townhome project. Within the NC 6.3 zoning designation, it does permit a various of land uses, which include single-family detached, single-family attached, which is the townhomes, multiplex, and multifamily residential uses. The applicant has provided a few sketches of what the project they are proposing. And just to make all of council aware, there are additional standards that are applied to townhomes when an applicant proposes and submits for review. So this is the current home, and this is the proposed site plan, along with a few photos of what they are looking to build and what they have proposed as a design.
At this time, we're going to hear from the applicant, Ms. Gina Tanner.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Really excited to be here to talk about, introduce myself and my husband. My name is Gina Tanner, my husband Chance Tanner. Tell you a little bit about us and how we got here. We're originally from Los Angeles, California, but my roots are here in Florence and the surrounding areas. My father, grandparents, great-grandparents, and I have a host of family and here already. I was always telling my husband about Florence, and when I would come here when I was a child, and my great memories with my grandma Anita. And I had the opportunity to drag him out here several years ago, and when it was time to reclaim and renovate my grandmother's home. And he understood why I loved coming here when I was a child. So we've made this place our home away from home. We're here more than we are in Los Angeles now. So that's a little bit about us. The project that we're proposing, we really know that that when we purchased the property, we initially thought we would do just another rental. But then we listened to the community, listened to our realtors, we listened to the mayor, we listened to everyone. We're like, okay, we need to put in place housing that for home ownership. So we came up with this project idea, and we think that it really, adds something new and fresh to the community, as well as, the having everyone proud about something. We took the initiative, sent out letters, and we haven't received any negative feedback. So we take that as, there's community support. And we hope that you guys will also extend that support and approve this rezoning. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the pro tem.
I have a question,
Yes.
Clint. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for bringing this to council. I mean, we're very excited about any new opportunities for home ownership housing that folks in the community are bringing, so we really appreciate that. Thank y'all for doing that. The question I have is, as I looked at the map, if you don't mind pulling that map back up, I guess the gold color is
Yeah, they're kind of closely related. So the lighter gold color, this lighter gold color is the NC 6.3. Then this darker gold, like right here and right here, this is NC 6.1.
okay. So yeah, it was difficult to see from the map as you showed it. The houses, I guess the properties along Oakland Avenue itself are 6.1. Is that correct?
That's correct. The properties located here within this section of Oakland are zoned NC 6.1.
As you're heading further north up Oakland, those, yes, what are those properties?
Those are, I believe, this is NC 6.1, and then these transition to 6.3. This is more multifamily.
I'm curious about the interconnection between having, because this is a zoning change, and historically we are not in favor of spot zoning. And so I don't know, I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm just curious as to the interconnection between the 6.1 and the 6.3 in terms of being compatible with each other. If you have one zoning designation with a single family home, and then you were to have this right next to it, and then have another single family home, which is I'm looking at the map, and that's what would become that. From staff's perspective, if you don't mind giving us a little feedback on the interconnectivity between those two zoning designations.
Yeah, so NC 6.1, yes, NC 6.1 and 6.3 are not two separate in the requirements within it, other than obviously 6.3 allows for a more dense development. What I will say is within our Unified Development Code, we have additional requirements on top of the standard zoning regulations that are applied to multifamily, townhomes, duplexes, what have you, to help facilitate instances like this to where you have a potential transitioning area to where it works along with the adjacent properties and there's not that impact that would previously have occurred with our previous zoning code.
What are those elements that would kind of mitigate any of those impacts you're discussing?
So we have a density requirement that would limit the number of units that can be placed on the property. We will have requirements such as addressing the main thoroughfare. It has to fit in with the existing structures around it and be cohesive with that.
From an aesthetics
From
standpoint?
an aesthetics,
Okay.
from a setback point of view, all of those type of building development standards.
And the properties would not face Oakland, they would face an internal entrance of some sort, is that right?
Somewhat. So
The
within
front unit will
Yes.
face Oakland.
So
Okay.
we have a requirement where, depending on how many units you build, and again, with this being a rezoning, we have not completed a full review or be able to tell you how many units can be placed on the property. But within our code, there are requirements of, depending on how many units you have, a certain number of those units must face the main thoroughfare to meet those standards. Then you can have others that are internally facing so you can achieve the density you're looking for.
But at the very minimum, the front unit, the one closest to Oakland, would face Oakland.
That's correct.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. We've met, and I love the fresh and new idea of bringing something different to the area. I'm glad you actually reached out, and I know you didn't hear anything, but I have heard some concerns from the community. And the thing is, I don't want to deter you from not doing the project. I think it's a wonderful project, but I would want to offer you to come to their community meeting, which is the first Thursday, which I think is January the 4th, I believe, and come talk to them and have the conversation. I think we've set a precedence here on council where we want to have the developer and the community on one accord and have the conversation to make it more of a partnership instead of an at-odd situation. So with that, I'm probably going to make a motion. Well, I am going to make a motion to defer it because I do want you to come to that community meeting, but I don't want the deferral to deter you from not doing the project. I just want the conversation to happen because there has been some feedback that I have heard. So I'm going to make a motion to defer.
We have a motion and a second to defer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The bill number 2023 will be deferred until further notice when you go forth and come back. You can always come back on. It'll be back on. But
Okay.
please, thank you to,
Thank you.
and like you said, we spoke time back, and
Yes.
but we want you to look at help to develop the communities. We ask that you do look at our UDOs and also our neighborhood development plan because we sought to do that because we want to make sure that we keep the communities on a congruent appearance as we stabilize, especially District 1 and District 2, which are our catalytic areas. So if you hadn't seen those plans, please look at them because we would love to have you be a part of that because we want to stabilize the community, help get home ownership up, and we would love to have you be a part of that, just as we spoke, I think, in 2021.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to for you coming forth and seeing how we can make a reality of the partnership be the work. Thank you too. At this time, we'll move forward. We have next out of our ordinance, we have bill number 2023-43 for first reading. It's an ordinance to approve text amendments to the Jeffers Creek Overlay District and Flood Prevention section of the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. At this time, we will hear from Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a proposed text amendment to section 4-12.5.1, which is the riparian buffer requirements, and also section 4-12.6, which is the flood prevention section. This occurred during our annual review that we go through each year, reviewing the floodplain ordinance and everything associated with that. And then also when we initiated some of the stormwater redevelopment work that we are doing through our grants with the Office of Resilience. And so the bulk of this text amendment are the amendments that are recommended by the state. So when we adopted the floodplain ordinance, it is an ordinance that was provided by the state, and they provided a model ordinance. When we adopted the original model ordinance back with the Unified Development Code, they have since made a few revisions, some of which are fairly significant as far as if someone is doing work within the floodplain, what their requirements would be based on our current code versus what the state model shows. So we wanted to make those obviously be in compliance with the state. And then additionally, as you can see here under the riparian buffer requirements, we have some very restrictive language that would essentially not permit anything, whether it be work that would degrade or any work whatsoever, any work to disturb land. And so with some of the work that we are doing as far as stream restoration and various other projects, we wanted to clarify that language and open it up so that those improvements can be made. And so we struck the section recognized to disturb land or degrade water quality are not permitted. We struck that and placed increase the impervious area or degrade water quality are not permitted unless demonstrated that said impacts provide for a net reduction of impervious area, contribute to an increased improvement in water quality, preservation of the overall scenic beauty and wildlife habitat and floodplain functionality. So essentially, anything that we do within the floodplain must have a net increase in what the overall positive impact that it would have to the floodplain.
Chair recognizes Pro Tem.
Okay, as I understand it, the impact specifically that we're talking about here that this change would have is on the work that's being done on Spruce Street. That's where the old museum is. If you can give us as an example of what we're talking about there and what the city plans to do, and that the previous language would have been a hindrance, but this new language would allow for us to make improvements actually to water quality.
That's right. So with the grant, we have purchased the property, which is generally north of Spruce Street. And right now that section of creek is underground, actually, so it's piped. So with this project, we are what's called daylighting the creek, where we're removing the storm drains, reestablishing some of that floodplain to help control floodwaters, and then also we're planting all native species and rehabilitating that area of the creek. As if we directly interpret this section of code, which is very much what we need to do with the floodplain ordinance, it would prohibit that. And so we added this language to help us allow, and for others for that matter, if they are looking to improve the area of their property and want to put in plantings or what have you to improve the stormwater, it would allow that to occur. whereas now it allows nothing to occur.
And the net effect is that we'll have an improvement in water quality through this change.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Braddock.
Glenn, can you tell me what, if anything, this would have done with the project behind Hallmark on the, I can't think of the creek right there.
Gully
comes
Branch.
up-
That's a section of Gully Branch.
Yeah, Gully Branch.
Nothing.
It wouldn't, what about the project near the YMCA where we were looking to rezone that area?
So the project behind Hallmark Square, all of that work is outside of the floodplain. It's outside of the 100-year flood mark. No floodplain. They actually subdivided the floodplain out of that property, so there was no impact to that. And then the project off near the YMCA area, that is unmapped area, so there is no floodplain or FEMA regulation maps that are applied to that property.
Any other discussion? I do want to commend the department for the fact that what is occurring now is movement toward more of a natural environment, even when it comes to natural floors and screening system, to put in those plants that would do that work and help clean the water, but also create an environment where it's aesthetically pleasing to serve the environment for improving that quality. So thank y'all for making sure to put that in to help us move forward with what is occurring throughout our nation. Do we have any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the bill has passed its first reading, and we've already did introductions of the resolutions. So next we'll have reports to the council. First, appointments to boards and commission.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. There are 4 boards or commissions that have either a vacancy or an expired term. The first board is our Design Review Board. There's 1 expired term on the board. The member must be a general contractor. We have applicants seeking reappointment, Cal Gunner, and this falls to Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
I would defer at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Next, we have our Public Safety Citizens Review Board. There's 1 vacancy on this board. The applicant must be a resident and 21 years old. We have an applicant, Mia Turner, and that falls to Madam Mayor.
I will move that Mia Turner be appointed. That's my motion. Yes, we have a motion and second in discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that Ms. Turner has been appointed.
Next, we have our Planning Commission. There is 1 vacancy. The member must be a resident of the city. We have 7 applicants, and that falls to Councilman Smith.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. That is for Mr. Michael Abbott, correct? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that Mr. Abbott has been appointed.
Finally, we have the Housing Authority. There is 1 vacancy on the board. Must be a resident or representative of a business that's located in the city of Florence. We have 11 applicants, and that falls to Councilman Braddock.
I want to defer at this time.
Thank you, Councilman.
Madam Mayor, that completes staff's report.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move forward with mayor's report. And we're coming to the end of our year, so excuse that, the accommodation tag, we have a report, and so Kevin, you'll be doing Mr. Chad. It's not here. Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, before you, we have the accommodations tax request and recommendation from the accommodations tax committee. And this list went to the finance committee, and I guess Councilman McCall can update everyone.
Chair recognizes Councilman.
Accommodations tax.
Oh, yeah. There's no. Yeah. Well, we met with we met, the finance committee met last week regarding the proposals from the accommodations tax committee. There was no recommendations to change any of the proposals from that committee came up with. So I guess we'll recommend that it be approved as written.
Thank you for that recommendation. Mr. Rollins, that completes your report. So we have now the recommendation as submitted from the Accommodation Tax Advisory Committee and reviewed by the Financial Committee. What is this board's position?
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and second in discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Thank you, Mr. Rollins, for that report. And at this time, we'll move forward with our reports from our committee. And I'll do like I asked the public. I'll keep mine less than 5 minutes too. We're at the end of the year, so I would like to say to, especially to our city manager and to our city staff, thank you for everything you do each day to make our city run smoothly throughout the year. We appreciate that. And to the council, thank you for all your dedications. I know we go through rough spots, but we're here at the conclusion of our year. And I'll say that we are still moving forward. I do want to commend that this past year, we've had a lot of events that have occurred in our city. We've received a lot of awards, and we truly appreciate that. But also the positive reports that we get back from our communities, what's really so important, because that's who we're here to serve, is the citizens. That we be sure that we adhere and support the various things that we placed in position to lead the city. I always say our UDO, our comprehensive plans, our neighborhood development plans, our plans of working with our partners with economic development. This has really been a successful year. I'm looking forward to us continuing to partner with our partners, leveraging those partnerships so that we can move the whole of the city along with our county forward. As we know that we are a city that's on the move, but we have cities and towns around us that we need to support with their growth. Because as we move up, we want to move others with us. So thank you for that, and to our teams, to the councilman, Jabela, who works with our Pecan Festival team. Thank you for successful events that y'all had downtown again with Pecan Festival growing. We truly appreciate that. And for all the ones who sponsor events downtown, thank you for that. We just had our Christmas tree lighting this past Friday. It was wonderful to see the young faces out there so excited about Santa Claus coming at 6 o'clock and see the lights that occurred downtown. I mean, I saw from the young ones being pushed in the carriages to some of the seniors walking around pushing walkers, but they were downtown celebrating. And that is what I enjoy so much about our city, being able to serve all age groups. To our city staff, to our city council, thank you again for all that we're all doing to make Florence a better place. And so the one of the fraternities had a big event this past Friday too, that was held at the gallery, and it was a first time event here, and it was a wonderful event. And the great thing about it is sponsored culture along with art and everything. So to everyone who's doing all they can to make Florence successful, thank you. And that's my report as mayor, to simply say thank you for all that you're doing, and please continue to do so. At this time, we'll move forward with a report from our Business Development Committee Chair.
Yes, thank you. We had 2 meetings this past interim between our last report. We had one, which is the regularly scheduled meeting that was held on Thursday, November the 16th. And then we had another one that was held, I believe, on December the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. And the first one was a update. We received reports of updates on the Third Penny Capital Road project. We also reviewed the status on the water and sewer grants that were going on, particularly with regard to stormwater. And we noted that Urban Square is under construction. As y'all see, the parking deck is made great progress. And finally, we see some ground being cleared over on the corner, Mr. City Manager. Very nice to see that over at Baruti and Coit as they're getting ready for the apartment building that will be coming out of the ground over there. That's very exciting. And we also received a report on the NOFA building on 127 West Evans, and we had a conversation about the Jeffries Creek Rail Trail and how it's going to be extending through the Grove and connecting over to the soccer complex. And so that's very exciting as well. those are the primary things that we discussed at that meeting. And then we had a special focused one dealing with grants and the status of grants. That was the called meeting that we had. We received a document, which everybody should have gotten one of these, that gave us a really nice summary. I think it's the first time that we've seen all at one time the active grants that were ongoing, whether it was related to stormwater or to water and sewer utility or miscellaneous, as well as the bottom section with those under review. And so we were able to get a good summary of all of those grants and the itemization of that. There was also some discussion about some grants that were denied and where things were with those. And that, I believe, summarizes the 2 meetings. I'll ask our other 2 committee members, Councilman Bryant and Barnes, if there's anything further either of you would like to add to my report.
Thank you for that report, Chair. Next, we have a report from the Chair of the Community Development Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is no report on this month.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we have a report from the Chair of the Marketing and Public Relations Committee.
We did not have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting later on this month. But we didn't have a meeting last month. But I want to let everybody know that as we end this year in 2023, we're going to be preparing for a bigger and better, more informative 2024. Definitely, I would like to let everybody know to have a very, very Merry Christmas, and we'll see everyone in 2024.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we have a report from the Chair of the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We met on December 6th, which was last Wednesday, and primarily our discussion was surrounding the tax accommodation, the recommendation from that committee. We had a representative of that organization or committee, Mr. Chad Patterson, present. And he answered some questions that some members of council had pertaining to how the process works and things of that nature. And I think after having that conversation with Chad and with Kevin Rollison, I think everyone was comfortable with the process moving forward, and that's why we made a recommendation today to accept their recommendations as it was listed. And then lastly, we went over the financials of the October report, monthly financial report. And as I always ask Kevin, as long as the house is not on fire, I think we're good, and we're projecting accordingly to our budget. So from there, we stand adjourned at 4:55, and we will meet again in January. We'll work with the members of that committee to get that date squared away, and that'll conclude my report today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that report. At this time, we have items on our agenda for executive session. The first one is the item for an update on Economic Development Project 30-4-7085. Next will be a personnel matter 30-4-7081. Then personnel matter to discuss the selection of an interim city manager 30-4-7081. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second that we're going to executive session. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect. Motion is passed, and we're going into executive session. Council, we'll need a few minutes break by 5. Okay. We are returning from executive session, at which time there was no action or votes taken. We'll return to our executive session items. The first item was an update for the Economic Development Project, so there's no action taken there. Next, we have a personnel matter. And with that personnel matter, we will have a motion.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we appoint Councilman McCall as chair to look into the judicial appointments and have Councilman Braddock along with Councilwoman Smith Jackson to serve on that committee with him and then report back to us in January.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign, let it reflect that that motion is passed. Next, our next item was a personnel matter to discuss the selection of an interim city manager, 30-4-70A1. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I would like a motion to appoint Scotty Davis as the interim city administrator contingent on legal counsel negotiating his employment agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second in discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign, nay. And that concludes our agenda for today. We stand adjourned.